I'm trying to give it to you. Hold up. It's lagging out. Give me 2 seconds here. There we go. Okay, listen, it's going to be hard to do.
There we go.
Okay, but we just got to make sure we don't say anything fucked up.
Roger
It's
that.
because the topic is extremely fucking hard to talk about without saying fucked up shit. And Spackle, I'll let you come in and talk. Just give me a second and then I'll prove you, okay? Let's get connected and then I'll let you up. Okay, because what we're going to talk about, I want to just take anyone's feelings about him and what he did out of the stream. And it's hard to do because that's the title and the topic, right? But this is my Twitter, and I'm here to talk about the community and the effect that these kind of things have on the community. And if people would listen to criticism and discuss things instead of lying, pretending they're right all the time, and doing all those kind of insane things, these kind of messes wouldn't happen to affect the communities. Okay, so real quick, let me get started, and hopefully Janie the Terrible on YouTube will have a copy of this for people that want to listen to it but can't listen to it or have a hard time on Twitter. It'll be on YouTube at Janie the Terrible sometime after this is done. So here's what's up. Earl David Worden, YouTuber, hundreds of thousands of subs, has been convicted for 20 years of something that I'm not even going to say the name of it, but it is the worst possible conviction that a human being could be convicted for, okay? So that happened. Now, I want to go into like 2 or 3 things from that really fast that apply to that any normal response from a human is going to be like, fuck that guy, but a million times worse. And that's why we're going to get it out of the way. So we all knew that Warden was going to be have a trial. I just found out today that he wanted the trial. He wanted to have a trial. Because he's got evidence, secret evidence, remember? Now, I wonder who told our community that he was an honorable guy and that he had secret evidence, right? And that we should trust him and that he'd be exonerated. Oh, that's right. You can scroll down my Twitter underneath this space and see that it was Steve McRae. Now, I get it. Nobody wants to talk about him. He's irrelevant. He's gross. All he does is stalk other people's wives on social media platforms and constantly never criticize them, but attack them and bully them and make fun of them and their appearance and their family and all this garbage, and support the most vile things towards that person. And that's why no one wants to talk about him. But for the people that were around 3 years ago, this was the turning point, people. This was it. And let me have 2 minutes and I will go super fast. When Kyle and Steve's channel broke up, it was only like a month later he decided to have Warden on. I think it was when him and Katie were still getting along, for fuck's sake. And shortly after he had Warden on, the Katie thing happened. Now, before this, she didn't have anybody attacking her or, stalking her or doxing her or anything. People might criticize her content here and there, but she didn't have any of those really stalky haters. I'm not playing, y'all. I've proven this on stream. And I've always said that the reason that there is a targeted harassment campaign, not the criticism against her, because that's from her YouTube opinions, but the stuff that goes against her in that kind of nasty way came from, as you know, the accusations she made against Steve and him weaponizing disgusting people against her. Long story short, he tried to come to me, and I'd only interacted with him a few times because this was before October and November of 19. And he tried to come to me and convince me that he didn't defend Warden or anything, because Warden was convicted of raping a woman in the 80s and only did 10 years. But as you saw when Nate the lawyer interviewed Chief of police in that area, there were actually many rapes that stopped when Warden went to prison, okay? And they couldn't get him on any but the one, according to the chief. Long story short, though, after Steve came to me, I put out the opinion. I wouldn't have interviewed the guy. If I would have interviewed him, it would have went completely different. But I do think people should be able to interview like serial killers and shit like that if they have a good reason. But I didn't feel that Steve did. And I didn't even know. Steve had told me that he lied to me, if you didn't know this. He had told me that he didn't defend him or any of that. Long story short, it wasn't that long later that people had gotten all of the comments and tweets and recordings of him on other channels, because back then the community was much bigger. I mean, the community was absolutely enormous back then. Kind of like our community is now, maybe times 2, okay? And that, though, was all centered around everybody. It wasn't really centered around the people that it's centered around now. So you could go on someone else's channel and nobody would find out about it for a week. He went on a channel and the famous clip where him and his buddies are trying to share my docs and all that, and where Steve doxed me, but he got the wrong person and all that garbage. We didn't even know about it for like a week or like 5 days or something. I don't know. Anyway, so the whole point is many people then saw the truth. I saw the truth, that he called him an honorable man and that he defended him. He said even, and the proof is right below this space. He said, and I fucking quote, that Warden had exonerating evidence, exonerating information to the point that he believed that it was a consensual. See, the definition of the word consensual means that they didn't get raped because they gave him permission to have sex. That is saying that that Warden didn't rape the person, and it is rape apologetics if you are basing your opinion on the words or on the gifts or the thing that Warden can give you. Maybe he'll give you some subscribers and some views. If that's rape apologetics, right? And rape apologetics is way more complicated than that, but as it applies to the story, it wouldn't have been rape apologetics if he would have been able to bring up facts, evidence, and other things to state his opinion that it was consensual. And thus, this is what destroyed a few people's YouTube communities. Red's Rhetoric, Steve, several others. It's why we try to warn people about these people. Because, and this is the end of my thing, and then we'll all talk for a second, and then I'll bring in Spackle or anyone else that wants to talk here after I talk to Navy. But basically, the end of me saying this is that the criticism that was given back then was to look at the facts. And us telling people, yo, he fucking keeps calling this rapist honorable, and the man just got fucking charged. What's it called? Where you're first charged for raping his own daughter when she was a fucking infant. Okay. This is what we said back then. Now, and you can go listen to my streams. All mine are up. You can go look at everything we said, y'all, because we were trying to tell the community, yo, this shit's fucked up. You can't support people that not only rape women, but are charged and at trial right now for doing it to infants. That is beyond evil. There, you don't draw a line in the sand. You fucking dig that motherfucker as hard as you can until you got a fucking 10-foot ditch, and you keep going. You dig until you're fucking like so far down that you got to use a ladder to climb out of the motherfucker. And then you go get some mining equipment, okay? You do not defend that shit unless you're just admitting to be the most vile piece of shit. And of course, here come the fucking lies. We want the benefit from Warden, because Warden goes out and he does the same thing, those cult tactics that I've proven other people use, and has a base of people that isn't really that big, but they do believe him. And they believe that he's innocent, right? And of course, we're all sitting here like, the evidence is pretty massive. Are they right? Are they wrong? And that's what these liars do. That's what these gaslighters do. They get in your head and try to convince you that you're wrong, that you can't draw an opinion, And then you can't draw a fucking, you can't wait on the verdict to establish that opinion into greater opinion close to fact, because he raped women. He dressed up as a fucking cop. He pulled them over as a cop. He raped one with the barrel of his fucking handgun while it was loaded. She was terrified. And then he fucking went to prison, but got out in the 90s or some shit and started his YouTube and basically started his entire rape apologetic bullshit. And my last statement is going to be, not only do you see the way that certain people treat Katie, I don't give a fuck to bring Katie up, I just brought up Steve. And then you've got to ask yourself, are they doing it to criticize? Or are they doing it to punish and be evil? And then you can look at this situation. Because if any of us had called this man honorable, when none of us did, all of us warned against him, but if one of us had even slightly said that he could be fucking honorable, we would have rushed to our main channels, went live, and apologized to our fucking audience for getting it wrong. And for bringing that motherfucker in front of the audience and then lying and convincing like the motherfucker did. So when I look at what the core group of people who I've always called the lobsters, when I look at them going around and treating, you don't even have to say Katie, anyone like they do, I factually know it's because they're trying to defame. They're trying to be evil. They're trying to lie. They're trying to deceive you because they're jealous, because they're angry, and because they are desperate and dirty enough to even try to gain viewers, subscribers, and social media cred off of a rapist, and now off of a baby raper. So that's what happened today. Now here's where it goes from fucking completely fucking evil and insane to jumping in a fucking nuclear rocket and heading towards the center of the goddamn galaxy here, okay? Because people were pissed off because EKC has defended Warden. And she defended Steve defending Warden. She has lied and said that he didn't rape apologetics. She's done it with the videos sent directly to her. She's watched the videos where he says, I believe it was consensual, so it wasn't rape. And then she comes out and still lies so that her audience doesn't realize what's really going on. Combine this fact with the other things that she's said about, you know, the prawn and shit, and it was a fucking joke or some shit, remember? The whole thing about creating the seed. Anyway, my point is, you can fucking play little YouTube drama games all you fucking want and go around and pretend that this is about everybody's trying to SJW cancel Steb and the lobster cult because they said that he had a rapist on his show 3 years ago. No, it has nothing to do with that, goddammit. Because I was the one back then who still got along with the dumbass. And I went and told people, look, he said he didn't defend Warden, y'all. He said we would have long group arguments in Discord with the room so big you couldn't even hardly scroll them. People would be telling me, he did defend him. He called him honorable, right? I went to Steve. He lied to my fucking face. He lied to many people in this room and said, I didn't call him honorable. I just interviewed him. These motherfuckers are deceptive, but then they want to go out there and say, trust us. We're not being malicious when we dox somebody. We're not being malicious when we fucking type these lies about people constantly. We can just keep doing this forever and people are going to support us. Anyway, that's my first rant. Navy, hello. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing good, Bubba. How you doing?
Oh, did you see an EKC said, and I quote, so what? When looking at what happened. She said, so what?
Yeah.
She said, so fucking what? She did this so that we would go live and we would yell about it, is why she did it. Does she realize that an infant, little fucking girl, got raped? And she's saying so what to that in the most frivolous fucking way, just to get some attention from us. How disgusting.
Oh, it's super disgusting, and she got destroyed on multiple fronts. And there's even so Jane the Terrible put together a video of her defending Steve on the Warden stuff, right? And if you want to see it, I dropped it on my Twitter underneath my little back in my little tete-a-tete with her.
Yeah.
And it's literally her making a video to defend Steve on being called a rape apologist.
Well, there's no doubt that he is one. He needs to go to his channel. If he wants to not be called one, there's one thing he can do. One thing. Steve always says no one's fair with him. No, motherfucker, you're the liar, not us, okay? You can do something so that you can explain to us that you're not a rape apologist. Go to your fucking channel, and number one, you got to tell the truth. I know that's real hard for you, but you've got to tell us why you called him an honorable man. You got to tell the truth. And tell people that you weren't just talking about his auditing. You were talking about everything. We have the video recordings. We've got the audio. We've got the tweets. We've got the comments section where you did it. This is why you can't gaslight, and this is why you hate me. Because my job is to archive and make videos. You knew that when you brought me in, but you want to bitch because I archive and make videos, huh? Sounds like you're an idiot. Go to your channel and explain how you could call him. Now, if you want to say it was a mistake, and that you just got caught up in the internet, I might consider that you're not a rape apologist. But if you're going to keep doubling down and lying, motherfucker, don't be pissed that you're permanently labeled and canceled as the rape fucking apologist that you are. I'm not SJW canceling you. This is why I fucking hate you, bro, because you make me have to get up here and say these kind of things. Every other person in the world has at least a shred of dignity to where they wouldn't even make this possible. You would have already went to your channels and explained yourself. You have already went and been honest. You would have already went and retracted things. You would have went out, but you won't, motherfucker. You're going to go lie and say, I don't support Warden. I did retract. No, you fucking didn't. You need to go to your channel, NonSec, get up there, make sure everybody knows what happened. So you tell them what fucking happened. You be honest about it. You tell people where you fucked up. That's when you're not going to be a rape apologist. That's going to be where you made the mistake of being one, but you fixed it. But you can't do that because you're too much of a fucking narco. Here's what she said. I want to read it word for word because she is dishonest. I think as a community, we should all fucking ignore and block all of these dishonest fuckwits. All they're ever going to fucking do, people, is keep lying so that you can't even do. When they get up there and start being dishonest, it takes away the ability for us to be able to communicate to the rest of the community our response to it, right? They're dishonest so that they can change what they say and try to make us look like liars, even when we're just trying to respond to what they're saying. So after this, I hope the fuck everybody wisens up, says their final goodbye to the ones that keep lying to them and fucking blocks them. But here's what she had to say. This is gross, bro. Like, I feel sick inside today now. I hate these motherfuckers. I'm going to read everybody everything. I'm going to read everybody everything. I'm going to let everybody make up their own fucking mind. Can somebody put it at the bottom of... Oh, here we go. Mr. Norway says, just in the, quote, honorable David Earl Worden, because that's what Steve called him. He called him honorable. There's too many videos. I don't need to make a video. There are too many videos that clip what he said, show the fucking images. I am factually stating the truth. If he misspoke or if there's some excuse, he needs to say it. But if he's going to keep lying, fuck him. I'm not giving them their lies anymore. I'm not giving them any more of their dishonesty. At some point, when we keep fanning the flames of their lies, we're just as bad as them. So he drops the conviction, 20 years for raping his daughter, a 2-year-old, I believe. Was she 2, Navy?
I don't know the exact age, but she was real young, yeah.
Either 1 or 2. So if any of you have to ask my opinion, there are only a few things that I'm okay with the death penalty on. It's when people do this kind of shit to kids that's like the main thing. Got me? That's just my opinion. I'm telling you my opinion. I'm not telling you what I think should happen. I'm not telling you what should happen at all. I'm just telling you there are very few things in the world, and this is like the worst thing you can fucking do. This makes you a vile fucking human being. And you're not human anymore. You're a fucking demon. Whatever the fuck that is. right? I don't give a fuck if you're atheist. I don't give a fuck if you're Christian. I don't give a fuck what you are. You can be whatever, and still there can be a demon in front of you, and that's this motherfucker. And when you defend fucking demons, don't get pissed when people consider you one too. So she says, OMG, who cares? She doesn't realize. She doesn't even get it, Navy. She's not even reading what the fuck Norway said. She's acting like Norway said something about, you know, whatever. All Norway said is don't tell Steve. He will just continue to defend the honorable guy. That is not a lie. That is what the motherfucker said after discussing him and his personality and shit, not his auditing, who he was as a person. So when she responds and says, oh my God, who cares? I can say this factually. This is a lobster cult member who thinks that she's better than all of us, who thinks that she can judge even Katie Joy. You've lost your ability to judge anybody, for fuck's sake. Anyone that supports you, anybody that supports you and your friends, you've even lost their ability to criticize one of the most criticizable people on the fucking planet after you did this. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. Deal with it. Oh my God, I can't believe they'd say this about me. They're such entitled bad people. So we're not allowed to think that something's too far, are we? Because now you have not only said that someone creating CP with someone else's fucking children is satire, now you're saying, who cares that a 2-year-old got R'd by this fucking guy that everybody tried to warn us about and got pissed at Steve for defending, and that's what started all this bullshit long ago. So then she goes on to say, I mean, it's not like Steve is having him back on. It's not like the dude was arrested for beating the shit out of his boyfriend. Then he came back on the show or anything, because that would be a shit look, I think. She's taking a fucking baby R and trying to throw it out into some kind of fucking weird, petty, non sequitur show drama. And this is what people accuse fucking me of doing, for fuck's sake. So let that sink in for fucking 2 seconds, please. You know what? You know what it is? The cater community and everybody around us, you can't go too far. If you're someone who doesn't like Katie because people hate her so much, not because Katie's a bad person, because they're bad people, they will excuse even the worst things you can possibly defend or say, as long as that person's gonna keep being the one who is desperate enough to go sit there like a clown and bitch about Katie all day, right? What do you think about what she said, Navy? Said in the most critical way possible.
Well, I actually tweeted out to her and replied and said, you need to go talk to a doctor about having your cranium, dislodged from Steve's rectum. Because the thing is, all she's doing is defending him. It has nothing to do with the content about what it's about. It's all about defending him. She is so simply blind, right?
Yeah.
Simping to him blind, that anytime someone says something against him using his own words, she tries to defend as if it didn't happen.
I know.
She's literally supporting it. It's gross.
And this is the thing, like, the motherfucker has lost everybody for a reason. There's a reason why. It has nothing to do with the people that he has lost, because those people are still friends with people who they met from that community, before that community, during that community, after that community. The reason that he has lost everybody other than these 2-3 doxing fuckwits is because he defends rapists. Not just fucking interviews them, doesn't just get up there and fucking try. I tried to fucking interview EKC. I tried to get her up there. She said she wanted to be fucking honest. All she did was lie in front of everybody. She even got the chance, but she's got the nerve. She's just so sick of us not talking about her. She said to herself, you know what? I guarantee that if I disrespect the fact that this child arpist just got sentenced to 20 years by saying, who gives a fuck? Who cares about that kid? Who cares about this story? This story was a major part of the formation of the community. This story is what started the fractures in people that we see today that I don't fucking bother to give a fuck about anymore, but EKC sure does. And so what does she say? I'm gonna fucking take this little girl's R, and I'm gonna take this motherfucker, Warden, this disgusting piece of fucking shit who did it, and I'm going to reduce it, and I'm going to use it for drama points because I'm so sick of Navy and Uni and all of the fucking people out there not talking about me, which I have never seen something more desperate. Go ahead, sorry.
It's almost like she has a pattern of using people's art to get clicks and views.
No shit, bro. No shit, bruh. See, and this is the thing, like, it's almost like she went and pulled that R report for Steve. Like I said since the beginning, and it's almost like she was kind of like, talked into doing it so that she would be reduced to the same kind of ostracized status in the community that he is after what he did. And again, you only reach that status when you're unwilling to admit that you're wrong. Double, triple, quadruple down, lie about it, dox and attack people. That's the only time you get to that ostracized status, right? You'd be treated as a normal content creator if you didn't do these things to try to cheat the system and to try and get your friends unfair points from people like Machete Psychopath. Because you watch, they will all bitch about Katie's Christmas tree and then say, so what, to Steve defending this fucking child rapist. Spackle, I'll bring you in now. I gave Navy a chance to talk. I talked a little bit. I'm adding you as a speaker. You've been around you've been around longer than who I like to call Exy, and you've witnessed a lot of what's happened. What do you think about her so whatting this situation for his defense?
I think she's either daft, evil, or both. Like, I don't think that any of this makes any sense, right? But so far, she hasn't made sense. One of the things that you've noticed is EKC has a pattern of really defending the worst things, just like Steve has a pattern of defending the worst men. May I remind you, Steve defended David Silverman. May I remind you that he said, so what, you have several TROs, Roadhog? No big deal. Let me interview you and be palsy. He has the worst track record.
Again, though,
I'm sorry. Track record. Very similar.
You can only bring him up if you say rape pig. I'm sorry. That's the only way he's allowed to come up. So.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No problem. No, you are correct. And oh shit, she said some more stuff. Like, this isn't even it.
Yeah.
It gets way fucking worse. So we've got the who cares, and I replied, he raped his infant daughter. I said, wow, you are a psychopath, aren't you? And I meant it. I mean it. If you're gonna I don't give a fuck why. I don't care why. I don't give a shit about petty YouTube drama bullshit. If you're gonna say that, I am going to forever think you're a fucking psychopath. Deal with it, okay? Oh, you're such a bad commentator for thinking she's a psychopath, bro. So I guess I'm not allowed to think anybody's a fucking psychopath, right? Because I'm always wrong, remember? Even though I'm always proven right, I'm always wrong. These people say that. And then I said, okay, this is Lobster Tweet of the Year material here, because it's fucking true. This is probably I would put this up to be, and I've been here for so long that I've gone through so many of these communities that are 100 times bigger than this community. And I've seen so many dumb takes, but I swear to God, I'm not even exaggerating. This is one of the worst takes I've seen a YouTuber ever fucking post. And then Navy came back. You need to see a doctor about getting his cranium dislodged, your cranium dislodged from Steve's rectum. And then Christina came in, and she's been gone because she's, living life and having a wonderful life, and says, a beating, you can get over that. That little girl will never get over the trauma of her dad doing this to her as a baby. How can you honestly justify this? And again, I'm going to say that I don't think she did justify it, but I do agree that, Christina was probably just shocked by it so much she didn't, she was trying to say something. The justification part, I won't give that to EKC, but yeah.
May I interject really quick and say that we can both agree that, like, slapping someone and hitting somebody in a relationship is bad,
we're going to get there.
But we can also agree that this particular crime is so beyond evil that I consider it worse than murder. I consider that worse than murder.
They're not even in the same category. It's not even like, it's like trying to compare a fucking molecule to a planet. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get to it though, because then people started to link. Well, she came back, and I'm not going to read every word. So essentially she comes back. You want to see it, you can just follow it in my tweets and replies. And she says, oh, so what? Steve had him on 3 years ago, and you guys want to act like this. No, that's not why anyone's acting like this, but this is why you are a pathological lying psychopath. And people started dropping video clips of the hundreds. They chose some of the worst video clips and tweets, and of the worst of the worst of the worst, I'm going to read you one. Sokka says, so Warden was finally convicted of doing those awful things to his infant daughter. I wonder if Steve McRae will finally acknowledge that he's guilty and apologize to the people he held a vendetta against for years because they challenged him on this. And he says this. Now, this is a DM from Steve that Steve has admitted is real. He threw a fit about and just said that Sokka is the worst person in the world for sharing DMs. And here's what the DM says. Steve says to Sokka is someone from the Great Debate community, a really respected dude. He's an officer, so he's just a really good guy. And Steve replies to him and says, I have read the papers, and I think it's bullshit. I have the documents and know damn well who released with them with their own spin. I'm amazed just how little critical thinking some people do when they don't objectively look at the details that don't add up. But you do you. I rather side on the side of being ethical and honorable rather than jump on a bandwagon of a very, very convoluted story and facts that don't add up. His story is far more credible. Cheers. So, real quick, I want to commentate on that. EKC will not admit that this is rape apologetics. Now, I'm not an SJW. Like, I'm not on the left. I'm not political at all. I hate it. I think it just causes people that could normally have great conversations divide. And I think it's just a shitty fucking, a lot of shitty, bad things happen to talk about it. But rape apologetics is a real thing. And essentially, it's like a flat earther. You got somebody who will never, because they want to maintain the relationship they have with the rapist, they want to make money from the rapist, they want to get a benefit from the rapist. God fucking knows what would ever make somebody so desperate for money and clout, because it gives you the opposite. You see, this is why people don't do it, because once a good commentator comes in and lays this all down, only the lying and gaslighting and the shade will ever allow you to gain cred off of rape apologetics. The minute it's laid out on the table without the lies and people can make up their own mind, it does the opposite. So anyway, rape apologetics exists, and this cannot be called anything but rape apologetics, or nothing is rape apologetics. And what I mean by that, it's one of the worst examples ever. Steve not only claims that he has seen all the evidence and the paperwork and the testimonies, and that he's heard Warden's story. He says, now listen here, that siding with Warden is ethical and honorable, and it's the right thing to do over the child rape that was convicted today. Yes, that's what we're talking about here. That's what this relates to. And so when people then stand up and call him a rape apologist, he lies and doxes us and attacks us. And it's just funny that EKC and the few people that are left defending this motherfucker are the exact people who I called out as the doxers and harassers, as opposed to the commentators and opinion givers in that community. I think it further justifies it. I think, in fact, we could go as far as to say it is the proof, the conviction happening, along with the fact that we've given them time. We didn't just come out after the conviction and run out here. We've given them time to go live and apologize to their audience for lying to them about a child rape, defending the rapist, and using it for clout and all this bullshit that you've seen these people. You barely hear us talk about this stuff. You've barely heard me ever bring this up. And the reason is because I try to respect the victims. I try to respect. I don't know how to do anything more to respect them other than bringing it up when it's only absolutely necessary and not trying to use it for fucking back and forth fights on YouTube, which I have not done. You can go check me on that. And the problem is now, this is the appropriate time to bring this up that helps defend the victim in this situation. And the sick thing is, when we do something like this, Steve, EKC, all your buddies that defend you and constantly help you and docs for you and do all these things, you think you're so fucking smart and so right. You are wrong on the worst thing humanly fucking possible, and I'm not even going to cancel you for it. I'm going to cancel you after you fail to go admit you're wrong on your platform. You fail to tell the truth to your fucking audience. You fail to stop blaming me, and you stop blaming Doc, Fiona, and Spackle, and everybody else who's tried to fucking correct you on this. And you actually give that fucking victim her fucking redemption, her justice. Why? Why do you have to withhold this little infant's justice? Why do you have to withhold the women that were raped by Warden in the 80s? Why do you got to withhold their justice over YouTube? Who gives a fuck if you were wrong? Everybody knows you're wrong about everything from atheism all the way over to philosophy, all the way over to fucking people being raped, for fuck's sake. We all know it. It's not like everyone doesn't already know. It's not going to hurt anything for you to come out, because I don't know how anybody can sleep at night or exist knowing that their words, their being, their fucking commentary is some of the very, very, very few people that exist in the universe who for some reason have to take that from them in their mind. We owe this. We owe this to someone that went through this, for fuck's sake. Who gives a fuck about YouTube? Yeah, man, when you guys would sit here and do it for money and rip everybody off and all that, I used to sit here and just be like, damn, man, that money got in their head, but there ain't no money in this, and you're still doing it. There's nothing here. No one's gonna fucking give you clout on this, and no one's gonna take clout from you. The damage is already fucking done. Do me a fucking solid. Just go to your fucking channel and give that little fucking baby her justice and apologize to her. You don't even got to apologize to the women from the 80s you took it from. But if you want to be one of them, if you want to be one of those fucking bastards who are going to sit there and act like someone's fucking lying on Warden just because he can get you a fucking subscriber, or just because you want your fucking great debate community fucking pals from that past to be wrong on something, if you have to take her justice for that, don't ever fucking think anyone in any community should ever give you anything ever again. You are vile.
I just want to point out that the first people to point out about this guest being problematic was not from the Great Debate. It wasn't me, wasn't Fiona, wasn't Exiled. The first people to point it out were people that were connected to the auditing community, and they were the first people to go, no, why are you platforming him? He's problematic. This is why. And they were banned.
You know, like, that word, I hate it. Problematic. Humans are problematic. We're all fucking problematic. This illusion that someone who goes out and fucking does dumb shit on YouTube somehow is worth calling out more than this man because she accused you of sexual harassment, or she accused your friend of sexual harassment years ago. You know, it's ironic. He had him on his show 3 years ago, and you want to be mad at him for that? Even though that's not the case, let's just pretend that that's the case, EKC. Well, you're the one doing this to Katie for all this time because she accused Steve of sexual harassment all those years ago and was fucking right. It was, you know, I mean, can you not see the fucking truth anymore? One day, you're going to grow up. I don't give a fuck if you're 70. Your mind is going to mature the slightest bit. You're going to realize that the reason people steal from other people is because they're fucking bad people. The reason people dox other people is because they're bad fucking people. The reason someone can't admit when they're wrong about even the slightest thing is because they are fucking bad people. Got me? Is Katie a bad person? Yeah. If she hadn't stopped doing that shit and got her shit together, sure. But you all act like she's going to be a piece of shit forever, and only she gets to say that. Only she gets to tell that. It'll drive you fucking... Why, man, I don't like Katie, but it's for a different reason than all the caters. I don't like her because she fucking can't get her shit together so that you all look like idiots. Again, on the last few things you've got to hold on to, which is her doxing a couple people. You know, this whole thing is goddamn abhorrent. YouTube allowing it is abhorrent. And I'm just fucking, I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta peace out. I have to. I gotta go back to doing my old shit because there is no fucking getting through. Some people, there's no getting through to them. They just can't admit when they're wrong, but they want to stand up, and they don't want to just give their opinion out themselves. They don't want to just go to their channel. I used to do that. My main channel was me just giving my opinion myself. I didn't really mix with people, right? But why in the fuck can't these people do that? They sit and demand attention from everybody. They want to have their voice added into the mix of what is real and what's not, and what's true and what's not. But they just can't fucking be honest or admit when they're wrong, for fuck's sake. And it just drives you up the wall. What else was it? There's a couple more things. You know, I don't even give a fuck anymore, but let's just get it done. So I read his little defense of Warden. This is one of hundreds. In fact, Navy, you got to tell me this. There was a time where he supposedly started to claim, now, he just came out and said, hey, I disavowed Warden, but I have never seen it. Did he? Where is it? What happened? What did he say? Do you know?
About disavowing him? Never. Nothing.
Never, right?
He just doubled down. In fact, even when Sokka made the DMs public, right, Steve decided to defend Warden again by replying to Sokka doing this by saying, well, you know, David Earl Worden never released DMs.
Exactly. Thank you. Okay. Because he has put out a tweet saying, well, all of those old friends of mine, they're pieces of shit because they want to keep acting like I still support this guy. You do. You do still support him until you go back to your fucking channel, the same goddamn place where you have done this and platformed this shit. And you get up there and you tell people what really fucking happened, admit where you were wrong, and admit where the others were right, and apologize for it. In fact, you don't even have to apologize because we know he doesn't apologize. In fact, that's just something that's true about him. But anyway, okay, so I'm good then in reading this so we can get done with this. Now, Nate the lawyer, back when he had 3,000 subs, was more like me with the way he chose what content to hit. And that is a diss on me because Nate is killing it. He stopped worrying about this dumb bullshit and went on to do bigger, better things. But back when he talked about this, he put this out. For speaking out against convicted serial rapist David Earl Worden, Steve McRae and Rhetoric think they can intimidate me into silence. Sorry, guys. We'll always know the truth. I proudly accept my nomination for Dumb Fuck of the Year. They proudly defend a serial rapist. That's right. They had this show called Dumb Fuck of the Year. And they, of course, nominated Katie, me, Nate, and a bunch of other people. And Nate was nominated because Nate called out Reds and Steve for defending the serial rapist. And those two have been quiet all day. They're not mad at Warden. If they're not mad that this guy lied to them, right? At least they want you to believe. That's what they want to do. They want you to believe, Reds and Steve want you to believe that Warden lied to them, showed them documents, fooled them into supporting them, and that they went out and made the mistake of supporting Warden. I'm the victim here. And they're not going to come out and address this. They won't because, again, they can't admit when they're wrong. They're just going to continue with the last thing they've put out being defending the fucking child rapist, the serial rapist, and attacking, you know, and I bring Nate up for one reason. Cheshire, you better be live, like in the next 10 minutes, apologizing to Nate with all your friends. You got to go get Sweet there. You got to go get Manya, and you apologize to him because you said you'd rather be in a room with you. Sweet said it, you defended it, you backed it up, you said you agreed, Steve said he agreed. You all said you'd rather be in a room with Earl David fucking Worden than Nate.
Than Nate.
Yes. Now you should fucking apologize.
Cheshire was instrumental in a couple of things, and I just want to recap real quick.
Well, let's just do it real quick because I don't want to make it about Cheshire. But go ahead.
I'm gonna be super real quick. She obviously spreaded the false SA lie in a layered argument and accused falsely a victim of SA to make a stupid argument and then admitted it was all a lie. Second, she tried to get Nate disbarred, saying he was not a real lawyer, and they encouraged people to write and get Nate disbarred because why? Because of this?
Yeah, because of this. Yeah, this is the main thing. Good point. And I just want to make a point that, wow, it's almost like Chesh being replaced by EKC. It's almost like they hold the exact same opinions as each other, even on the most craziest things like this, because you'd never find two people in the world that would defend the serial baby raper. And I'm not kidding, y'all. This isn't fucking hyperbole. This is straight up fact. You can scroll my Twitter and see it with your own eyes. The conviction, everything. Somehow, they want us to believe that they're giving their opinions. They're not speaking with someone in their ear telling them what to speak when they say these things. Even though Chesh and EKC are the only two human beings on the fucking planet who will still sit there and say that thing, that Nate, they'd rather be in a room alone with Warden than Nate, number one. I can't fathom this shit. I can't fathom it. But then also, EKC would say that fucking what she said about Warden, and of course defended Steve. So when Steve's in their ear, it's obvious that they're just speaking his words. But go ahead, sorry.
And then one third thing that she was involved in. She was instrumental in the gaslighting. So they let it sit. They got into a fight. He tweeted into a hole, defending this man as an honorable man, DMing people going, well, you don't know the real truth. I have secret evidence. But then after time went by, the story changed. And that was due to her PR and spin. That was Cheshire that said,
yeah,
he didn't really defend that. He defended his oddity.
Yeah, the point would be, Chesh, apologize. This has nothing to do with me or Steve or Kyle or anyone. It has to do with the fact that you were wrong and that the baby was raped by the man that you defended, and you need to give that back to the baby. You need to go live, admit you were wrong because people still believe you. You need to correct it on your channel so that those that for some reason simp for your feet pics will, no joke, that's a fact, will actually change their mind and realize, oh shit, we shouldn't have went around, because what they did caused all that spamming you saw out there from crazy, weird, anonymous accounts that had never tweeted before about how, Nate isn't a lawyer and Warden's better than Nate and all this garbage that was out there. But anyway, moving on, I tweeted, Red's Rhetoric and Steve McRae, you defended Warden for years. What do you have to say now, cowards? Nothing. Nothing. There should be nothing that would stop them from at least posting on their community tabs, yo, I'm not at the desk. This just happened. I'm going to handle it when I get home. What the fuck is going on? Are you still going to defend this man through silence? And tell me it's not. Navy, how is it not still carrying every opinion and everything that they convinced everyone back then to now by them not correcting themselves on this after the conviction, right?
Yes, no, 100%. So the thing is that
okay,
when you're wrong about something, you come out and admit it when you realize that you're wrong, right? And
isn't that what's that fucking thing they always say? The word they use?
Astronomically honest?
It's the one they use when they what? No, not astronomically honest. They'll say that they're like, where they will always correct themselves. Yeah. It's their word they use.
You
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but they always say that, like, if I'm ever wrong, I will be the first to correct.
I'm going to come back and correct this should be the thing that no matter what, you will run to your computer. Well, now, if Katie Joy fucking hung up a Christmas tree and one of the fucking bulbs fell off, they'd be screaming to their computers and spamming the internet and retweeting fucking Llama Girl that goddamn psycho, right? Or Truth Sleuth would be there lying for these guys and pretending as if she's fact-checked it when it's everything she's saying is provably wrong. You know what I'm saying? But this one, the most important topic that for some reason we told you not to bring up, not to weigh in on, not to compare Nate the lawyer to, you're gonna fucking stay silent on that? You're gonna fucking stay silent when your opinion was that this baby raper is honorable and that you'd rather be in a room alone with him than Nate. Okay. So after Nate, Janie and others grabbed video clips on the channel, Janie the Terrible. There's a video, example of cult brainwashing with a picture of EKC on the front. That video has literal hard evidence where she stated defense of Earl David Worden, defense of Steve defending Earl David Worden, video evidence. And after she was shown other video evidence to prove that she wasn't right and that she actually lied in that clip, she wouldn't change and update what she said. So that is very important, but we'll move on, because I'm done with this, to we got...
Well, I just like to say while you're looking around fast is that one thing that EKC has proven herself to be is a tragedy pimp.
True. But here's the deal. In the worst tragedies, when they give the complete wrong opinion, you can't make money apologizing for defending the baby raper. And that's why EKC, Steve, Chesh, Red's Rhetoric, all those motherfuckers are quiet right now. You got Spackle saying, "This says so much about you, Aaron." Underneath Aaron's first reply, Aaron replies, "Yeah, it says that I have a point, and you can't think of shit to say, because I'm fucking right." Notice how she's so angry that she's dropping F-bombs, cursing, and going nuts. Good to know you have a great perception of the obvious. Well, you see, Aaron, you're lying again, because you said that people are angry that he interviewed Warden 3 years ago, and all the evidence that shows the worst examples of him not interviewing him, defending him, lying for him, claiming to have fact-checked the fucking police records, claiming that Warden is ethical and defending him is ethical and honorable, and that we're all shitlords. Now remember, y'all, you know how we're all shitlords, we're all liars, we're all these bad people. Guess where that all started and came from? This. Us putting our foot down over this, and this happened right before the fucking fake screenshots of 2019. That happened that led into this, and guess who else was against Warden? Katie. Then we go to Spackle saying, "I mean, what can I say to the woman who says that child rape is no big deal, CP is a joke, and others actually threatening people is a joke? You're either daft or evil or both." I agree, but I wanted to make sure, because she sometimes seems to listen to me. You know, she's got this fucking thing for me and acts like I'm just the most wrong and evil person ever, when it literally, you can go back to anything I've ever said about her or her fucking lobster lord or any of her friends and see that it was actually good criticism and good advice, like my advice right now, which is the correct take on this situation to save them from being forever having this brought up in their face anytime they try to say shit to anyone in the future, which is factual, because you can't get away from... There are people that can't get away from dumb shit they've done on the internet. This is 5.6 bajillion times worse than any example I could give. And my advice is, stop lying about it and fucking just let the little girl have her justice and stop lying. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to apologize to me. I don't want you to. I don't want shit from you. I don't want nothing from you guys. I'm saying that she shouldn't have to one day search the internet and maybe, due to some fucking weird coincidence, stumble upon her fucking child rape being trivialized into the defending the man that did it is ethical and honorable. And that will happen if you can't undo what you said, get up there, and actually fucking admit you're wrong here.
I want to say that this victim has endured Earl David Worden fans attacking them for a while. Like,
sure, doxing, threatening.
Yep.
I'm going to give, you and Exiled and Fiona, they went and literally bullied Exile, threatened her and bullied her and found out her location and just...
Earl David Worden himself.
Yeah, Earl David fucking doxing, child raping Warden did, yes. And yes, Steve defended it because, guess what? Exiled's a shitlord because she stood up to him on this. And that's literally the basis of this entire situation. So I make sure, because EKC listens to me sometimes, you can't say she doesn't. She's constantly talking about me. So I go in to say, you can gaslight and lie, but it's not that he, quote, had him on the show. He called him honorable. He defended him. He said he had secret exonerating evidence. I've retweeted proof below. Nice. You'll lie for the rapist too. Gross. And I made sure that the tweet proving that he didn't just have him on the show. The only thing, when he had him on the show, and I didn't know that he had actually defended the rapist. This is before any of the child rape shit came out, because this man raped 4 women back in 1980. And I defended Steve and said, listen, if he wants to interview a rapist, he can, and you guys can judge him on it. But I think you should only, interview him on what you want to, and it needs to be important enough to overcome that. And that's why I would never do it, Steve. And I think my advice to you would be not to do it or apologize to people for doing it. But I gave him good advice. I gave him the advice that would have saved him this situation. Factual. He's admitted that. Literally. It's on record. It's on stream. So I get it, Aaron. Just interviewing someone doesn't equate. But that's because you're lying. That's not why people are mad. Now, Janie the Terrible adds a video clip. Fiona often stated that platforming Earl David Worden was never an issue. It was defending him. And Janie has video clips from back then when these videos were uploaded, and has it uploaded to his channel and is sharing it in the thread so that people know that the lies that are being told right now, because that's the lie, and we're not having it this time, we have let you lie on us with impunity, other than us speaking against it sometimes, for years now. And this one, we've put our fucking foot down. We are not lying and trying to cancel you and Steve because Steve interviewed a guy that turned out to be a child rapist. That's not we're not letting you have that this time. Fuck you. We're mad because you're trying to weaponize that shit against us, while all we are asking is that you get your garbage defensive Warden in check and apologize for it. Next, she says, somebody shared the fucking who cares. Every time I see it, fucking Mr. Norway says, convicted for raping a baby. Aaron says, OMG, who cares? ? Exclamation point. I just can't fathom. Why are we in this timeline?
She's got to be void of all empathy. There's something wrong.
Psychopath. Yeah, that's what psychopath means. You're devoid of empathy. You have no empathy. It's why you're a pathological liar. It's why you're a doxer. It's why you pull rape reports. It's why you suck. It's why your channel name is You Suck. EKC, Aaron, you suck. People suck. Aaron, people suck. If you're an Aaron person with the same last name, you suck. So then someone shares police news and information on police officers. And it is a timeline of Earl David Worden. It's Earl David Worden, a convicted rapist and 2-time felon. This is before they've updated his child rape charge of his infant daughter. Everybody is making sure that they know I'm not just talking about child rape. It was his infant daughter. Okay, check. We got it. Now let's get this done. Okay, I think we're at the bottom. Good. So I don't know if she said anything recently. I don't know if I can get Navy or Speckle or anyone in here to.
One thing I've noticed, I went and checked my timeline, right? Because I dropped after she responded to me about, like I said, Now we see the type of people that you support, and everyone else is going to see it too, right? And she's like, you don't know anything. And I was like, all right. And then I dropped Janie's video. Shockingly enough, I've had no reply.
Exactly. And I just want to make a couple points really quick here, and then I'll open up the floor for anyone else that wants to raise their hand and maybe say something, as long as it's quick to the point, because again, not because I don't want to hear from you guys. I'm sick to my fucking stomach. I'm not even playing. I'm literally sick to my stomach. I mean it.
I would be interested to know if Sokka would be willing to say something.
Is he in here?
Yeah, he just joined as a listener. I'm
He's
calling you
more
out,
than welcome
Sokka.
to. But real quick, I just want to make a couple points. You all need, if you've ever listened to me say anything ever, okay? I don't give a shit, like, about any drama, okay? Hear me out. When we criticize people, if we're hypocritical about it, if we do the same things that we call out other people for, then we are hypocrites. That's what that means. And it means you really don't believe what you're saying, okay? If I go out and I punch someone square in the fucking mouth right now, and I come in and make a video about how you shouldn't punch someone in the mouth, I'm doing it not because I think it's wrong or bad, or that I think the person's wrong for punching the person. I'm doing it so that I can get some kind of twisted fucking pleasure out of someone else being in trouble or having people upset or whatever it is due to what I did, okay? And then I want you to go back and I want you to look at all the criticism, because that's what they call it, from any person out there. Jesus fucking Christ. Hold on. Let me put this on. Do not fucking disturb. Then I want you to go out there and just look at the dumb shit that people in the community say. Then I want you to see if they have a pay link attached to it, okay? Because it's about time that people open their mind. This is fucking YouTube, y'all. Like, there is a reason that people decide to do the content that they do. And if they are, like, let's say, people that defend child rapists, or how about there are people who go around saying just disgusting shit to Katie about her breasts and boobs and about his penis. And then he incites his friends to maybe attack that person for years. Just maybe it's not because Katie's a bad fucking person. Maybe it's because she said no. And maybe that's what child rape is based on. And maybe that's what these fucking CP pics are based on. The doxing's based on. The stalking is based on. Because there are people out there supporting these fuckwits with money, and they're getting paid to continue their fucking elation. They get an elated feeling from bullying and stalking and harassing, or they wouldn't fucking do it like they do. And maybe there is, like, I don't know, a huge community of people that could pull together and actually say something about it and make a difference or something. Because that's what we used to do on this fucking platform back in the day. You know? You go in and you find something fucked up that's happening. Somebody who's just fucking scamming everyone. Everyone who goes out there. Llama Girl, fucking Truth Sleuth, Charlotte, fucking Steve, EK, they're all fucking scammers, people. Seriously, if they don't mean what they're saying and they're continually fucking picking on someone, how is it fucking, why are they choosing to say it? And this is the most obvious one. You could at least fucking fix this. You could at least admit you were wrong defending Warden. That if Warden, when he was in jail for the first rape, didn't have a huge base of people that made the choices that you guys make, not all of you, of course, them, defending him, maybe he wouldn't have been so fucking feeling like he could never get in trouble or that he'd never go to jail.
Did you see that picture that he tweeted?
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Maybe he wouldn't have when his jury hit 6 and 6 and they started to get hung. This motherfucker, dressed in his little fucking tie and his little shirt, went and sat down in a chair, popped his feet up, and, leaned back with the most demonic, evil smile on his face. And it's on my timeline. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, I'll put it there. But he tweeted a picture of himself. It is on my timeline. Great. He tweeted a picture of himself celebrating the 6-6 hung split, saying that he was going to be out. He wasn't going to get convicted. But thank God the people on the jury didn't have a fucking Aaron. Thank God there wasn't a Steve or a Charlotte or any of those motherfuckers on that jury. Thank God there were people on the jury that were willing to actually look at fucking evidence all the time, follow the facts all the time. Because when you let yourself hate somebody to the point that you're willing to create a fantasy to bully them or a lie to attack them, I'm sorry, y'all. At that point, that's when you lose track. That's when you start to do it with everything. And then after you do it for a while, it becomes your fucking habit. I think we're at the bottom. I'm fucking done. Anyone else? Go ahead real quick if you want.
Do you want to bring Sokka up and see if he wants to say something?
If you want to say anything, all you got to do is there's a button. It looks like a little hand. And you click it and it'll say, can I speak or request to be a speaker or something if you want to talk. That's all you got to do. If you click that, it'll put you to the top of the list. So,
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, of course.
When this started going down, I had a progression of I thought better of Steve. I thought better of Steve. I thought better of Steve, and it would get worse and worse and worse. So, like, when this went down, I didn't hate Steve. I hated Steve after this went down. And what's interesting is he had so many chances to fix this and say, you know what, I platformed him. You know, I was just focused on the auditing, and he didn't have to defend him. And then he didn't have to double down and
He's
double
not
down
going to do
and double
anything.
down.
He won't come out and do it. His defensive warden, unfortunately, whether he realizes it or not, he will be in the mind of those people, the victims of Warden. And he'll be in their mind as the people who defend that man. Because that man is a monster to them. He is the person who's tortured them day in and day out in their nightmares, in their dreams, every essence of their existence.
Well,
and part of that fucking hatred and that feeling is going to be, how do people support him? And when they think that, you're one of them if you can't get your ass up there and fucking admit it. And that's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for, don't bring up my name. Just get up there and fucking tell people you were wrong about Warden. He got convicted for 20 years for raping his infant daughter. You shouldn't have interviewed him. You shouldn't have defended him. You should have listened to the entire Great Debate community, the entire non-sect community, myself, Unirock, because I wasn't a part of either of them back then. Should have listened to everybody.
Well,
now, and I don't mean him. I mean, what about the motherfuckers that are on the sides of him defending him? Because we know he won't fucking do it. It would be world ending if that motherfucker actually did it. He's done. I mean, it's just over when it comes to him.
One last thing I'd like to say is that, so Steve claimed that he had read through all the documents and knew that, Warden was, innocent or whatever, right? One of the things yeah, remember, because he had this evidence.
I've got that on my timeline.
And so one of the things that shocked me, though, and one thing I remember, is one of his defenses of Warden had to do with what he called the Romeo and Juliet Act, which means Romeo and Juliet, real quick, is just the fact that you have someone who's 18 and someone who's 16, but they knew each other previously. There's this whole exception to the rule, right? Yeah. Or they had been dating already when one of them turned to be adult age. So
that was one of his defenses for me.
That was one of his defenses, which means that he never read anything because the women in the cases that they were talking about were over the age, right? And so there was none of that, which means he didn't even read anything.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this is back when he was defending him.
That was before he was charged with the child. I thought he was charged with the child back then.
That was before so he was replying to the fact that when he interviewed him, he got lambasted because this guy was a convicted rapist from the 80s, right? Yeah,
and
but one of his defenses is that
I understand. I'm sorry. I was just trying to say that I thought that he was also charged with the child part.
He was under suspicion at the time. I think.
Okay.
Investigating.
Sorry.
It was in the works.
Yeah.
It was in the works.
But what this means is that Steve lied again in defense of this guy by not showing that he didn't even read the police reports. He had no clue what the ages of the people involved. He had no idea what was happening, and yet he went out there and defended this guy.
I'm with you, and I agree. It's just that that's what I meant when I was saying that he should get up and tell the truth, But Sokka jumped in, so I wanted to give Sokka an opportunity to weigh in if he wanted to.
Yeah. So, oh man, it's been forever since I've been on a live stream or anything. How are you guys doing? First
good,
off,
buddy. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, I've been busy. Yeah. So here's the thing. So all this stuff started off because a lot of this stuff. I mean, one of the things that led to your and Steve's own kind of odds and ends there. Was about you approaching the Warden thing, and even you saying, "Yeah, Steve, I think you got it wrong on this one," and him refusing to give it up. His entire narrative that he's been pushing for years about the legion of trolls that are out to get him and ruin him all stem from this fucking Warden shit. It's one of the main things. Steve's victimhood is such a huge part of his character, and you start seeing this stuff now coming out, and it's good to see this because it's all self-induced. This shit was people knew about this stuff when it came out. He chose not to believe it. He chose to have the guy on, and then he goes and tries to rewrite history. And Spackle said it earlier, and I'll say it again: is that all this could have stopped if Steve had acknowledged it years ago. When it first happened, if Steve had come out and be like, "Oh, you know what? I probably shouldn't have had the guy on. It was probably poor taste. Shouldn't have given a platform." But he didn't do that. He doubled down on it and called him an honourable guy. Said he was good. I posted some of the old tweets there again, where the messages and stuff where he said that this guy was innocent. Favorite one where he's just like, "Well, you know what Dave Earl Worden didn't do? Share private DMs." It's like, yeah, but he fucking raped people.
I know. It's insane, man.
Yeah. It's just are you serious? Are you putting what kind of ethical framework do you have to have where you put sharing of DMs as a greater trespass than
I know. Then he's on Twitter right now arguing literal philosophy, atheism, ethics to other people as if he's right. It's insanity.
Yeah. And so okay, so we got all that shit. Steve's an idiot, yeah. But it's funny that all this stuff could have been easily resolved years ago if he had done this. But instead, like I said, he has just doubled down on it every single step of the way, and he will continue to double down on it, and he just doesn't care because he actually is a guy with no moral compass whatsoever.
Let me ask you, Sokka, what do you think? Let me ask you this: isn't it when people looked at it before now, there was always this thing in their heads well, the guy's not convicted of raping his infant daughter yet. Now that we know he did it, and we know the evidence wasn't what they said it was the whole time, doesn't this carry a real kind of harm and connotation, this whole thing now? Doesn't it kind of mean something and be really bad now? Isn't that the danger of defending someone like this?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's the fact that he was willing to stand up on it, and it's not just the standing up and defending him at the time, was that he literally did go after people for trying to spread the truth.
Yeah.
He bought into, there was that one woman who had been kind of trying to bring people's attention to Warden for years. I think her name was Tracy. I probably got that wrong.
No, I think you're right.
Teresa. It was Teresa.
Teresa, that's it. And she was out there putting herself on the line, trying to get people's attention about this Warden character, and he was completely just destroying her every chance that he got. And
his
Steve
fans
jumped
were too. His fans are mean, and they were coming at her.
Yeah, and Steve encouraged this woman to be harassed and spread the same lies that Warden did. It wasn't just about the defense of Warden at the time. He actively spread Warden's lies, including the lies against this woman.
Isn't that what empathy is, though? If you don't have empathy in this situation, like empathy works based on like kind of a scale, you know, like if you don't give a fuck that someone got their purse stolen, you're really not going to give a fuck that someone took $10 from somebody, right? So it's like, if this whole time you didn't care about the damage of being wrong, doesn't that kind of show that there is no consideration of empathy ever? There will never be. There will never be a good take. There will never be anything real.
Yeah, I mean, and it was such a powder keg of a situation that he never took the opportunity to step back, because really what Steve wanted was what he always wanted. He wanted the audience. He wanted Dave Warden's audience, so he fucking placated to the guy and spread his lies, actively hurting people, you know. And then he carried on with it, and this whole like this shit about like I don't even know what her name is, that is this one idiot that you guys keep on
EKC.
like bringing into this, like who is she?
She's the new Cheshire. She's basically the new Cheshire.
Oh yeah, okay. So
menopausal chest.
Listen, I mean, like, I'm not like I get it. It's fun to kind of poke people like that with this shit, but she's an idiot. Like, come on, you guys are going to get through to her if she's already stood by Steve through all this stuff. Like, you know.
Well, you got to remember though, we're not trying to get through to her really at all. She's got a small little group. She used to have more of an audience, a couple 100, 300 people that would come watch her just do all this dumb shit she's done. And what I want to do is get through to the people that actually believed what she said, because that's, again, real damage in this situation. I think it's real damage in every situation.
Just out of curiosity, did her audience shrink after she started really simping for Steve?
Well, not really. It did a little bit when she released Katie's rape report, a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And then it did a little bit further.
She's a real classy act, this one.
Yes, she's a literal rape apologist, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's what we're trying to say. Like, they are leading literal incels. Not all of them, not all the viewers. Some of them are just Katie haters. Others are Earl David Worden incels that are rape. They hate women. They want to, you know, every woman that accuses somebody of rape is lying and evil. That's what these people think.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
just so you know, soccer EKC is the top shiller for Steve's GoFundMe to sue Katie
And
Joy.
Warden.
That did nothing.
But sure, and again, I know, and we could talk about Steve's thefts and stuff all night. The thing I want, though, I just want one thing. I just want to get through to maybe one of them. They could, and I know it sounds dumb, but they could go to the place where they did all this damage, and they could just take one fucking thing back. One. This little tiny thing in their mind, as she said, I think is massive to a singular individual in this world. In fact, I think it will be like a turning point for their entire fucking existence. So I would think you could just show some respect and have the most basic empathy with one situation, and maybe even condemn Earl David Worden. Maybe show that you do actually defend people that are affected like this. Because she was raped. The court says it. The evidence that was used, that she brought up, was not real. It was a lie. And that's what she used to defend these people. So
this intensity of the lies, so Steve kind of gets people to lie for him. But an example again, and I just want to say Cheshire was the one that said David Earl Warden's innocent before proven
I get that.
guilty.
I've got 7% though.
Can I finish my thought?
Yes, I want you to. I just want you to get it all out. So go ahead.
So really quick, this keeps happening to me. I just wanted to say that, like, when she said that, what it did was cast doubt on what actually happened, that he did have a conviction. She did that for the audience to confuse them, and EKC does the same thing. She intentionally confuses people.
I agree. And all right, but we're at 6% now. Sokka, you want to say any last thing here? Because it's going to die. My phone will die. I'm not by my phone.
Yeah, sure. Listen, like, this is the whole situation. I'm glad that he's finally, you know, the Warden is finally being punished for this. That there actually is some justice in this. And I really hope that one of these days, people like Steve can sit back and realize that, they're the architects of their own misfortune. People weren't out to get him. This all started off literally because people were trying to look out for him. And everything.
You were one of the main ones, Sasha. You tried to help him the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah. And you know what? Every single failure and that he has had that has led him to the position he's in now. I mean, listen, I don't even watch Steve anymore because I feel bad. Like, I've moved on with my life. I got this other shit. I check in every once in a while and I see not only his he still where he was, he's actually regressed. Like, he's just not entertaining. It is there's no drive in it. Whatever he's producing on YouTube is just garbage. I can't even be bothered most of the time to fucking log in and troll him or anything. It just feels bad. This is the first time I've done in months is actually put this stuff out there because it's kind of a big moment.
It's
but
sad.
But
go ahead. Sorry.
Everything that Steve's got, the where Steve's at now, he has earned every single bit of it, and I'm happy.
Yeah, it's really strange because we all tried to get through to him and help him. We were the only ones. Everybody, these other people out there, they wanted to help him hate Katie, so he found one other thing he could do, and that fell apart just like everyone told him it would. And now they're not there. They're just like, hey, we found out that you're a piece of shit, so bye-bye. We'll go find another Katie hater that'll not be so creepy. And really, the only people that I ever even see asking about him or caring about what's going on are people that were in the Great Debate community a long, long time ago, just every few months saying, what's he doing? And that's it. It's reduced to that. So it's sad, but that's, in fact, justice. That's what rape apologists should have. You can't lead people in discussion if you're going to lead them to this. I don't know how else to say it. I wanted to get your opinion real quick, Saka, because it is my thought that the criticisms we've given over a long period of time, the words we give that try to say like, yo, these are the facts, you're wrong on this, that if you listen to everybody and the best arguments kind of come to the top and they match the facts and you follow that as opposed to the thing that you makes you look a little better right now, that's when you don't have these kind of situations happen in the end. You get me? Does anyone else think there's a thing that could have maybe happened other than that? I mean, if years ago he would have listened to everybody and not doxed and attacked and screamed and stomped his feet and cried and, wouldn't this not be this way and the community would be bigger, people would be connected? I mean, that's how I feel. Anyone disagree or agree? Or
I don't think it ever would have been there's never going to be a way in which this wouldn't have happened because of the fact that Steve is drawn to certain like-minded individuals. And look at his pattern. Look at his pattern of who he entertains, who he platforms, who he talks to. He is drawn to certain people. And the thing is that especially with this Earl David Worden stuff, look at that community. That's all I got to say. Look at that community of the people that he does in this auditing community. You'll notice there's a pattern of everyone having similar aspects of criminal records. And Steve is drawn to people of like-minded. Look at Silverman and everything else. Yeah. So the thing is that this is based on Steve's personality. This is what he thinks is okay. This is what he is drawn to, and so he will search out these people. And it's no surprise that he will defend these people.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm a little naive. I try to have hope that we can make the Doc's argument. I wish Doc Misha could come up and talk, but she can't in a lot of these conversations. But she said something to me that I know she wouldn't care if I shared, and she went into it in the most perfect way that I'll never be able to re-represent. But she was talking about how this is all weaponized Darvo, And I'm not meaning the Earl David Worden thing, of course. I just mean like community-wise, what we see the people doing who are constantly trying to turn good advice and good criticism and facts into victimhood is Darvo. They make themselves the victim, right? Then by denying the facts and denying the criticism, then they swap who the victim is, and once they're the victim, and then they make the person they hate the perpetrator, and then they go after that person all day, every day. And I personally think another stupid opinion I had after hearing Doc is that a lot of the weaponized hatred or harassment, or we'll just call it like haterade that's out there, like, you know, when they're talking about how someone looks as opposed to something they've done, in my mind drives all of this, because it's the fallback. If you have that there and someone will listen to you, and Katie's just the example because that's who they're targeting right now. They target many different people, but Katie's chin is funny. If you can go do that and people are going to listen to you do it, 20 or 30 or 50 of them, they're going to listen to you insult her, then I think that is the thing that allows them to do the thing they like to do, which is the, you know, going after a lot of you guys, lying, defending Warden. I mean, I think it's a platform, you know, to allow it. I'm just rambling. Anyway, I plugged my phone in. It was at 2%. I got my charger together and I saved it at 2%, y'all. So Spackle, if you have anything else, please throw it out there. I wasn't trying to cut you off.
I have to tell you that when Fiona made that video that was about Rape Apologist 101, there was a big debate about how to do that and what to do that. And we were going to maybe have someone else do it. And that person backed out of it. And so she did follow through. And the backlash of that was so horrific. And then XL jumped in. And the backlash of that was so horrific that Warden himself came after her. And then I jumped in, and the backlash of that was so horrific my work got called. Like that is how horrible it was. And it just was worse and worse. And it was depressing because I looked at it and went, this guy is a ARPist. Like, he's a guy that like has done the deed. Yeah. Got a wrist slap for it. If you look at the case, he barely got fucking anything for it. And the case is disgusting. It is disgusting.
A gun loaded.
Yeah. It is so horrific to me, and it's so depressing to me that so many people who have done these things get away with it and nothing happens to them. Nothing. So I'm glad that finally something's happening to him, and I'm really sorry that I'm sorry that the victim is his daughter. I'm sorry that it was a child. It is horrible.
Well, you know what?
But I'm glad that finally somebody's doing something about him.
You know what? Imagine that when the daughter grows up and she finds all of those videos and live streams and arguments about literally her situation, and if she ever decided to watch them, okay? Imagine two scenarios. Imagine one scenario where what it was 3 years ago for the supporters of Warden and the people who are doing this, imagine they grew, okay? Imagine it went forward. It didn't hit a stopping point, and then it didn't completely fall apart to where their cult has like 7 people, right? That's now. We've got that timeline where they got 7 people, and where people speak against these people being able to come out here and use a YouTube platform they claim is about whatever the fuck they say it is, so that they can bully the woman that accused him of sexual harassment and help the rapist get his reputation back. Imagine that she sees 7 people supporting that fucker like it is now, and then imagine that she would see, you know, whatever it was. What was it, like 25,000 people supporting him back then? So my point is, you shouldn't be sorry, because you Exiled, and Doc Fiona. Those 3 people, if you didn't, because I saw it while I was streaming, I had like 1,200 people watching. I'm seeing all these people in the chat and all this argument going on, and you guys were representing. You know you were. I know you were. And if it wasn't for you 3 doing it together, then I don't even know if it would have came into our community to where, because I'm telling you, that event was instrumental in opening the floodgate of them making mistakes. They made mistakes that exposed 14 fraud raisers totaling $300 and some thousand in requested money and like 180 in stolen money. Factually, by the books, you can go watch my old live streams. I put it all up there. By the books, they stole that much cash, and we busted it and stopped it. By the books, he is not streaming. He's streaming, which he used to stream to 600 people. He's got fucking like 22 or 18, and I guarantee at least 15 of them are haters. So you did do something great. It's just that, we've busted 50 fucking conspiracy theories, right? I busted QAnon. Like, all my streams were there and busted it. If you go read the wiki, it says my live streams, and I don't even have my name on it. You'll never get thanks for what you do, but if you rep the truth, it might take 3 years, but if you rewind back, we all said it. We all said, listen, if we just rep the truth and we just push forward, it'll have an effect. I think it's had a massive effect. I can see the effect. And that is generating money for them. They were making like 2 G's a month off of their bullshit. Now they're down to what, 50?
Well, Uni, as much as I'd love to agree with you, the sad truth of the whole thing is that in the end, the shit that really knocked Steve down, you're right.
I know
there was like, people got tired of the lawsuit after a while. People fucking got bored with the same old shit, the same old content. He still had some supporters, but the nail in the coffin was really him fucking over Cheshire. All this shit, which is the most irritating thing out there. He says you literally have this piece of shit out there defending, a serial rapist, completely defrauding people out of money.
Yeah.
You have this guy doing all this, just terrible shit, sexually assaulting or sexually harassing women out there, including, the love of his life, who had to fucking, finally come out there and be like, listen, fuck off. And all this shit. And finally, the thing that fucking, ruins Steve fucking, last of his good name is fucking over another fucking troll. True. It's fucked up, man.
You are correct. I mean, there's a lot of fractures. I just really do think that it was all of you guys, the great debate community, that kind of prevented because when we came in, back when that whole thing first started, there was a potential, for them to kind of fly forward. I just think they hit the stop sign when you guys came out and showed everything. So,
all right, in chat. I don't know if she's able to speak, but I don't know.
Well, like I said, if you want to, all you got to do is raise your hand. But we got to rush it because they love having the attention. That's for sure. They're listening right now and they're happy as pie.
Well, I want to say something real fast. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
When you defend evil and you defend those defending evil, you're enabling and encouraging evil to happen.
Yeah, you're justifying making it happen, literally.
You are literally the reason why people are okay with doing the things that have been done. You're out there justifying why they get away with this stuff, right? And so have fun realizing that you're the reason why you keep encouraging bad things to happen to people.
Can they, Navy? Can they even? Or is their brain so broken that they don't absorb it? They don't care.
Honestly, I tell you the truth, I think what happens is this, with everything we've seen, is that the narcissism that exists within these people doing this is that they have let that narcissism and this wanting of attention override any kind of ethical aspect that could ever exist. Because most people would sit there and say, like, if they had him on, maybe they want to talk about auditing, right? Had him on, and then found out that this guy was this, that, and the third. They would have come out and said, listen, I did not realize at the time that this person was this person. Y'all told me about it.
Any normal human being would have.
Any normal human being would have said, thank y'all for telling me about this. I do apologize. I'm taking down all the videos that have this person in it. I will not support this. I do not support any of this. And he,
it's amazing. It's pretty amazing, dude. You just reminded me of a memory from back then, because this was all live streamed, and I remember sitting there, and people were fucking talking about how, and they were showing proof, like screenshots, that they were getting their comments banned and removed, and their live stream comments, and they were just saying like shit, like, dude, why do you have this rapist on your show, and he raped her with a loaded gun,
like what Wasaki did and all that kind of stuff.
Who banned that? Like, who banned that?
He did.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
And
because Warden didn't have a wrench.
They would scream. Like, you can pick any other auditor out there. You had to pick literally the worst one of the bunch.
It was like, there's a reason, though. That's what I'm saying, bro. There's a reason he had to do that, because it was starting to crumble, bro. Like, but I don't want to go into all that. But no, I'm with you. 100%. Great point. Great point. Well, listen, what we can do, we can have as many of these as you guys want, but it's almost 10, and I do need to try to have a mod meeting after this, so I'm on Dippy. But if anyone wants to pick this up on their Twitter, they're more than welcome, and I'll share it for you. Just let me know. Or we can do another one tomorrow, and you guys can jump in, and we'll talk about stuff. But one thing that I think, and I just want to get all the speakers' opinions one after the other here, and then you can say bye or tell people to follow you, whatever you want. I want to figure out like what we can do here to not continue this with them ever again. Like, I want to dip from the discussion of the next rapist they support or the next fucking fraud raiser they run, because all these things are inevitable. So I don't know what we can do other than maybe because the community does, it's a sick thing, but they do lull at the outcome of this. Will that change? Will people stop? Will people not care anymore? Like, what's gonna happen, and how do we make sure that we just don't give a fuck anymore about this shit? That's my question, but you don't have to answer it. I'm just asking.
Well, I think the thing is this, right? Is that, like you said before, like, unless someone, there's a break in the case or whatever happens, you're not going to talk about them. The thing is this, though, is that you put it out there and you put it in a place where people can find it. So if they decide to search for it, you have it out there. Are they going to continue to do what they do? Yes. Are they going to continue to be like the shittiest people on the planet? Yes. But at least at this moment in time, you can drop it and say, I have done my part. I put it out there. If you search it, if you go looking, you're going to find what you've said, what Menace has said. You go Twitter, YouTube, Nate, all this kind of stuff, Spackle, everybody else, right? And it's out there now. And then people can find it for themselves. And if they choose not to, they choose to ignore it, then that's up to them. But, there's only so much you can do.
And all these personalities, like, I want to hear Spackle, I want to hear Menace, I want to hear you, I want to hear Sokka, and I want to hear you guys talk about other things sometimes, right? Because, I see the potential as a money-grubbing, e-begging YouTuber to make money off of your personalities. So we should try that. The good news is you'll be able to make money too. We should do some shows and just move forward, I think.
Here's the thing, is that...
I was joking. Sorry.
I don't hate Steve. I really don't. I don't care. I just don't care anymore. If there's people out there, and I've had this discussion with other people that are still that follow other lols cows out there, where it's just like, you see this point where people just get reduced down to just they're ruined, and there's always those people that are just chomping at the bit because they want to see it go one step further. They're not going to be happy until this person's out on the street, homeless. Yeah, like, it's just like, honestly, like Steve, like, he's not successful. He's the touch of death for pretty much everything on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Like, once he starts getting actively involved in it,
He is
he's
homeless. I mean,
like he's fundamentally he's pretty much just like what in his 50s.
He moved in with a viewer. He moved in with a viewer. He's
couch surfing on a fucking fan's one bedroom fucking apartment right now.
Supporting rapists. I don't get it.
Like what more could I like? And like the only thing that he would have had left would have been his name and reputation, and he doesn't even have that anymore. He's an abject failure. Essentially, he's a cautionary tale that I tell people. Like
that's
so
what I
said.
Yeah.
So the only power that he has, the only influence that he has, is the stuff that people, like us, still grant him. Sure. I jump in once every 3 months, like maybe to put a fucking quick little jab out there, and I wasn't even doing that actually. Like it was just like the most recent one was because this Warden stuff came out. Yeah. I just had to repost the stuff today, and then I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing before, which is completely ignoring Twitter. Sure. And and it doesn't affect my life at all. Like all the information's out there. Steve's not.
Well, I want to argue religion with you on air, Sokka. We have to do this sometime. You're a smart guy. People would benefit from hearing that.
All right. But it's like at the end of the day, like if you guys stop paying attention to Steve now at this stage, like he literally would fade away into nothing. A distant memory, a punchline to a joke here and there.
I'm not even allowed to do this stream. Like my audience wouldn't even want me to do this stream, but this is more for Warden than it is Steve. But yeah,
it's funny. I still talk to Nate every once in a while.
Yeah, same here.
And like, not a word of a lie. We were sitting there and we were just talking about kind of reminiscing about stuff, and Nate legit could not remember Steve's last name for a bit.
That's so good, dude.
And it's just you think about like how much Steve focuses on fucking like Nate still.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm sure that like if I was to go through like Steve's Twitter or something like that, he'd probably be mentioning Nate at least once a week still.
Yeah.
And Nate has moved on to the point that it just like it actually has to physically like take that second to be like, and Steve, I was like, yeah, McRae. He's like, yeah, that idiot.
We can actually say something we've never said yet, but Nate is fucking famous, dude. Like we could say that. That is not a lie.
Oh my goodness, the guy
that's not a lie. He really is getting famous, dude. Like he's blowing up. He's an internet celebrity, baby. Oh God, I love it. And
it's so weird because like I've been a mod in his channel since he had 500 subscribers, and it's just like I watch his live streams now where he's got 5, 6, 7,000 people watching him like on one of the ones that's like not a popular one, like one he just kind of throws together out of nowhere all of a sudden, and I'm just like, oh man, like am I actually responsible for doing shit now? Like,
what's funny is that the whole thing that with Nate and Boozy, right? Is Steve was the one. I was gonna do that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, talk about it.
No. I was just gonna also. The main thing I was gonna say is that Nate is changing the face of social media. I'm gonna do a video eventually because he really is. Boozy was doing real damage. He had real control. And I know a lot of it's the blocking of bots and stuff like that Boozy lost. But ironically, and Navy can back me up, in the Johnny Depp trial, halfway through, I created a room in my Discord called Bot Sentinel. And I've had everybody throw anything about Bot Sentinel in that room since Boozy's name first came up, because I wanted to do a video exposing how his whole bot network was just a complete lie. But Nate did that. He found this story. He starts to share it. He gets targeted. Somehow, Boozy ends up getting a video that, ironically, and I even hate saying his name here, but Steve McRae originally used first to try to defame Nate. And Boozy takes it and shares it to go viral. and Nate sues him, and it's just an incredible story. But
the toxicity.
Like I said, man,
yes.
touch of death, man, touch of death.
Yeah,
Like,
touch of fucking death, dude. Steve sent that video to Boozy, and it's highly possible Boozy's going to flip and say, "Listen, Nate, I didn't defame you. I had no clue that this video was fake. It was the person that deceptively edited it that you should sue." And if Boozy can hand that to Nate, Nate might have his guy, and he'll definitely get damages from Boozy and from whoever created the video. So I know there's some lobsters listening. They might want to tell their master about that, but who cares?
whatever. What are you going to sue Steve for? What are you going to take off Steve?
Well, nothing, right? But it would be funny because if Kyle ever paid Steve, maybe Nate would be the one that got the judgment because, Steve's going to owe Nate more than Kyle owes Steve. Anyway.
By the way, are we at the stage now when we realize that like the entire Kyle Steve lawsuit, that the only people that won were Steve's lawyers?
Oh, sure. Definitely. Oh, yeah. Well, hell, Menace and you and others have been saying that since the beginning. Those are the real winners there. Fuck, Nate should have been the one to represent Steve suing Kyle. Nate could have got some cash. I don't know. But nah, he's making the money now. Okay, y'all. Thank you for coming in, Sokka, Spackle, and Navy. Anybody who watches this on the replay on Janie the Terrible's channel or on Twitter space replay, make sure you tag the peeps in here and say hi to them and follow them or something, hook them up. They're good peeps. And I want to do things like this more often. So when any of you listening, or especially you guys up here, hear me talking about something, please do not hesitate to raise your hand, especially if you've been in the Discord before, talked to me before, because then I know that you're cool to come up and talk. But I appreciate each of you. Thank you very much. Navy, you got anything you want to throw out before we go?
Just that, if you're still following these people and supporting the people that do this, then you either don't give a fuck about anything ethical or you need to take a serious look in the mirror.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Great point. Great point. That would probably be my point too. And Sokka, thanks, buddy. How you doing right now, man? Everything good in life?
Everything is absolutely amazing.
I love hearing it, buddy. Well, I mean it, bro. I'm being dead serial. Please come on sometime and let's argue God and things. I don't know. The people need that knowledge, so it'd be awesome. But you got anything?
Argue from the forecastle. Argue from the forecastle.
No, I mean, I think that these people that still kind of support Steve because of their joint hatred of some tabloidists on Twitter. If it came out that somebody that without crystal balls or whatever had supported was without a crystal ball, sorry. If it came out that somebody that she had supported before in the past or had on their show had been convicted of sexually assaulting their children, they would be having a field day and ostracizing every single person that supports.
Yeah.
And it's the hypocrisy where it's just well, because it's not her, well, it's just one of those, who cares? And it's just you guys are just fucked.
Definitely, man. And what's funny is if you go incognito, I'm not even kidding. I'm not making this up. And you go down his Twitter, somebody put into the Discord him actually doing what you just said, and yelling at her for talking to someone who had been accused of some kind of sex crime. And they were ostracizing the fuck out of it. How, Katie, are you going to listen to this guy when he's been accused and all this? And it's ironic because it was the day that, right after they put that out, Warden gets convicted. So it's funny because that actually happened. But Spackle, you've been watching this thing since the beginning. I wanted you to win last because, you've seen the whole thing. What do you think? Do you think there's some kind of good out there, that happens from these things? Or do you think that, well, what's your take?
You know, I've talked to people that have left the lobster cult and that have left EKC, and they realize something's wrong, and they go, "I'm going to correct course and turn around." And I think there's like a warning sign that if you're a creator or a follower or a mod for a creator, that you can correct course and turn around before it gets to this point. You know, and the thing is too, is if it was just simply that he had a guest that did a crime, and a really nasty crime at that, it would be one thing. It was the protection of the criminal. And I feel like EKC particularly has demonstrated a lack of a threat meter that's at all sensical or practical. And EKC says, like, you know, so what? Who cares? To this, and then levies a boyfriend slapping another grown adult boyfriend, and it's still awful and it's bad and it's DV, but one does not negate the other, and one is far worse than the other. And so, like, for me, it's like, so what? Like, non sequitur. And then the irony is that she throws a non sequitur out to prove a point, which brings us full circle to the show.
Oh yeah.
And
You
know, that's both can be wrong at the same time, and they're not even on the same level. In my opinion, what Warden did is worse than murder. It's worse than murder.
Sure.
I'm just gonna put this out there. She real dumb.
Oh yeah. Well, appreciate.
But let's not forget.
Oh fuck! Hold on, Sokka. Hold on. Fucking A, dude. Sorry, I didn't even mean to do that. Here, you gotta click the button real quick. I was trying to turn the shit down and plug in, and I fucking muted you. But here we go. Did it work? Yeah, it worked. Okay, go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
We share private DMs.
Yeah. That's the important part, right? DMs.
Definitely. Oh!
With irony, by the way, Steve did share private DMs between him and Crystal Ball to EKC, and they dramatically read it. So Steve's a big hypocrite there, even too. Not only does he have a really broken threat meter, but like he literally shared DMs. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that is. Well, appreciate you, definitely. And I'm not trying to end this, too fast or nothing. I'd like to talk longer, but unfortunately, I am going to have to go to bed soon. And because I'm plugged in, I'm making a lot of noise in the hallway where I'm not supposed to be. But there, Rachel is being cool. So the last thing that I kind of want to say is that I've made a lot of choices in my content to put, maybe trying to help other communities, creators, and I don't regret any of it at all, because I wasn't just doing it to help people or anything like that solely. I was also doing it to try to learn some stuff and maybe tackle some complex stories and find a way to tell them in a better way. And I think the one thing I can say throughout this whole fucking mess is that I have found stories here and I mean on the internet, and not just in these communities, but in so many, that outweigh everything that we're seeing on television and in the movies and in these stories that become popular right now. And I think that it's been a hell of a ride, because I'm still this naive idiot where I want every single person that I bumped into to have some kind of redemption so they can walk away from bad situations. And I consider I get so complex in my head that I even have to ask myself, well, what is a bad situation and what is a good one, and what is being nasty to someone and what is not, and does it matter or does it not? But the thing I kind of figured out in the end of this whole thing is that it does matter. the most fucked up thing to realize, because I'm a very quote unquote conservative individual, only because I think that we should be free to make mistakes, learn from them, and go forward, right? So at the base of my entire being, for my whole life, joining the military, you know, fighting for freedom and being injured and doing stuff on YouTube and having conversations beyond just memeing out like an idiot, I think that there is, ironically, a worth and a measure even to existing in these communities. These communities are nothing more than people. We're just separated physically. But, you know, we would be separated physically no matter what, because there's only usually one person that we all end up not being separated from physically, and that's our partner, that's our wife, or that's our husband, you know. So what I'm trying to say is, like, my whole protection from the internet, to where I don't become a lolcow, I don't become the thing that I laugh at, is that I don't allow myself to take the internet as seriously as the real world. And, you know, censorship and, you know, the new internet seeks to do that. It's on our phones, it's on our hip. Back when the internet was on our PC sitting at home, we would sit down on it, you know, say dumb shit, call each other, you know, back then you could call each other gay or even worse things, and it was like a normal thing that you'd see everywhere. And of course I didn't do it, but I'm just saying, you've been on 4chan or you've been on Reddit back then, so you know what I'm saying. And the point I want to make is that now that the internet is in our pocket, it's now where we kind of have to take it more seriously. Even if we don't want to, there's so many people that are. But the main point I think I'm going to make is that, you know, when you meet good people, you end up meeting the best, right? Somehow the internet siphons people, you know, to each other. And as long as you've set boundaries in your communities, I seriously think that those base boundaries will bring you literally some of the smartest, most gifted, and great people, because I do think those people seek each other out, right? So it's inevitable. Now, the thing is, what I've found is this crazy thing where you also will get people that witness these great people. And when I say great people, even the most silent person who only weighs in every once in a while, who has this unique personality and says these funny little things, I'm including them. I'm including all the good people out there, regardless of their time spent adding in. But then you get these people that are somehow wanting to mimic that. And they get up there and they don't feel like they can be themselves. And because of that, they feel that they need to take on some of the stuff they see around them. And they end up being mostly the ones that either fail to a point that they do things they can't come back from, or like doxing someone, threatening someone, wanting to beat somebody up, as we've heard so many times before someone gets kicked that we liked or whatever. And the sad thing is you know, I consider those people really great experiences also, even though they're only around for a bit. I know I'm rambling. What I want to get to is that I've learned that you have to disconnect yourself from certain people. There are toxic, cancerous people who seek nothing more than not to disrupt the community. Who gives a fuck? Laugh, oh, giggle, huh, lol. But they seek to actually obsess. And after I realized that was a very prominent thing around, for some reason, Katie. It's why I kept her around until she doxed Creepshow, because I was kind of seeing this phenomenon happen right in front of my eyes with a few people that had been around for a while. And they ended up hating her guts. They were the people that loved her the most. And a lot of other people in the Discord server saw this happen. I'm not trying to talk forever. You can leave if you don't want to hear me. I'm rambling, but I need to get this out, damn it. And unfortunately, like, I had some really great conversations and friendships with a couple people who end up being not around anymore. And anyway, what I'm trying to get to is that I've had to question my stance on censorship and free speech, and I've had to question my stance on the value of every person. And I don't like that. It's very uncomfortable. But unfortunately, it's something I'm going to have to do. So I guess I now know what I need to do in my content and conversations going forward for a bit, because I was documenting this whole time. I mean, if you're in my Discord server, you probably noticed that. But what you don't know is that I have another Discord server that's just packed to the fucking brim with years of stuff. Okay? Because I'm an archivist. I only archive what's public, and I keep it. Because, you know, Doc Misha is probably in an occupation where it's one of the most valuable occupations that we have. We're just aided by machines now, but, you know, someone has to pass down history. Someone has to pass down what happened, right? And what we've noticed is if we allow people that are dishonest to do that, what they do is annihilate all of those other people. They take them away. You know, through their destructive behavior, they take all those other people away. They scare them away, or they try to hit on them. They convince people to hate instead of criticize. They don't try to learn anything or have any resolution, because if they have a resolution, that means they can't do it again tomorrow. And you know what I think? I think that evil that Earl David Worden has in him is a very similar evil to the obsessive thing that we have to ban from our communities. I mean, it's an obsession. It's where they have to know everything about another. I don't even know if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me, Navy?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. My phone literally failed on me. It's not even showing me talking anymore. I think it's
5x5.
I think it's linked, man. I think that instead of documenting what happened with non sequitur and the fraud raisers and all that, which we have all of it. I even have videos started on a lot of it. I don't think I'm going to do it, man. I think it gives too much credence. I would literally have to put EKC in my fucking video if I was going to do it. So I'm not going to do it. I'm done. It's over. I'm deleting it. I'm sitting down and I'm deleting it. As soon as I'm done with this, they've gone too fucking far. And I do think that there was a factor in, I'm going to blame myself. I am. You don't have to agree with me, but I think that me bringing my community in, I'm allowed to be proud of my fucking community, damn it. I get pretty good baseline views, and I always have. So if you want to fucking call me conceited, do it. But I'm backed by the numbers. And I think that bringing my community in and being so flippant with it caused some of this really extreme behavior because, like I said, I think EKC is that lesson. She's that person who screams from the outside, I have nothing good to say. Well, then we're not going to hear you. Thank you. But I'm going to force you to hear me. Well, I'm not going to listen. Well, I'm going to defend this guy. And then it's like, oh, you getting slayed now, girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't be that flippant anymore. We can't give attention. I think that literally, as ironic as it is, giving that little bit of fucking attention, but then by doing that, I have to admit that I actually am a YouTuber again and that I have to protect my base. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a YouTuber. I just want to be a silly guy that makes memes. I don't know, Navy. Set me straight, man. What's up?
Well, the thing is that the problem is when you see something wrong, you point it out, right? I mean, that was the whole aspect of your entire original channel was finding, this crazy and then saying, well, it's not true. This is what it is. And then not being able to do it anymore and coming over and watching people literally steal from others, right?
Yeah.
Take from the best of us that are trying to, do right by humanity and exposing it. And then we see people now, it's gone to, from stealing money from folk to now using tragedies to make money and views on the internet.
I'm sorry. I know I talk a lot, but you did it. I found it. You said it. Creators give, right? We're creating every fucking day.
Yep.
We literally sit down and we go through hours of stuff, order it, organize it, get it going, and then go out and we create something and we give it away to people, right? And you know what?
Yes.
What we're doing, what I just said, that whole thing I just said, even where I was being a little bit sentimental towards people that we've lost who turned crazy and demented, that is people taking. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what all these people are. It's just a very simple binary concept.
Right.
You've got people out there like Doc, both Docs, Misha and Fiona and Sokka and everybody out there, you compassionately care to hear what others have to say and think. And we look at these situations and create something, whether it's good, whether it's bad, where anybody wants it or not. And then those other people are sucking the life force out of everything they go near. They seek to destruct. They seek to insult. They seek to lie. They seek to create a narrative, right?
And why?
Molly,
why? And
they're all the same.
Well,
Yeah.
the answer to it's a very simple answer. The answer is that they cannot create content.
They can't
piggybacking off of a tragedy, piggybacking off of someone else's content to an extent, without offering anything to be transformative about it, is the fact that you have the inability to actually create content yourself that people are going to come watch.
You just said it again. There it is. Yes, there it is. They all have that thing in common. They all do it. They fake. They absorb from the creators that do create. They go out and mimic that. And once they've been identified as the because they're basing
frauds.
What they do off
They're
of
frauds.
taking. Exactly. And because of that, they have to protect the fraud, protect the secret. And also, that's why they always will make a little bit of money at first, because people will think like, oh, some more content, here you go, because they see them as the other creator. And when they've been outed as not one and the money goes down, they have to take the money. And in order for them to, I have an opinion that they're not going to like, but I've held it the entire time and I'm going to blast it. I don't give a fuck anymore. I think those fraud raisers that happened later, that had others at the helm, that then morphed into the ones that had the key player at the helm, like the Bull one and the Katie Joy lawsuit one. I think that they knew that they were busted, so they had these other people come in, and I think they share it. I think that's what they do. I think they sit around and they absorb what Katie does and they turn it around on her. They absorb what other people do, and when they're fighting people with facts, like Katie doesn't always work in facts, so it's effective against her. When they fight people with facts, it busts them down, it exposes them, so they have to go back to targeting the ones that don't use the facts, like Katie. And you know what? Katie can have them, right? You know what's funny? She had the ability to stop this a while ago, and we all heard her basically choose not to do it, right? They need to just have each other forever. Wouldn't that be excellent? They go off on their little island of hate. It's all sand. There's no trees. There's no fucking grass. There's no fucking palm trees. There's no fish. It's just hot sun beating down. And they sit on their island hating on Katie, while she makes
yelling into the void. All they're doing is yelling into the void, and no one's listening.
And it's crazy. Remember when this all started? I said the same thing about PewDiePie and Markiplier. I brought up this little group of people that I found in 2015 that were hating PewDiePie because he had a porn tab up on his one of his screens in one of his really old videos, right? And it was like girls with big boobs or butts or something. And they would just spend years doing nothing but calling him a cuck and making fun of him and all this. And it wasn't true because basically, you know, they all watch porn too, right? And it was a joke anyway. Poods put it up as part of a skit. And I sat there and I said, no one even listens to these like 20 people. But they just literally say vile things about PewDiePie all the time. It's not true. I watched him. I'm trying to find where he's any of these things. He's not. And I remember long ago saying, this is what hate campaigns turn into. They become really isolated and people leave them behind and they become better, bigger things. And then those hate communities end up falling in on themselves. Yeah. But what happens if you combine a cult into it? This is or sexual harassment into it. Isn't it weird, Navy? Is it a coincidence or did this happen on purpose? That's where we're ending this right here. This is the end. Is it a coincidence that his entire thing started because he perved out and he even admitted to it? He can lie all he wants. He used to say so many fucking things about
how this video of him admitting to doing things pre-show.
Exactly. And he always talked about how beautiful she was and shit and all that, right? So fucking, is it a coincidence that it all started with this kind of pervy fucking nastiness and it ends now with the ultimate display of a defense of the worst, right? Is that a coincidence or did it happen for a reason?
I think it's a natural progression of things, right?
Yeah.
And we watched it happen time and time again. This is a natural progression of what happens. And so no, it's not a coincidence at all. It is, you could predict it.
Really? You're saying that it's predictable?
Yeah, when you get certain personality types, and you start realizing that they attract certain people because they are like-minded and they don't have any content to actually put out, you will watch the same degradation happen time and time again.
You're right. So, thank you, Navy. Anytime, every time, all the time. I'm going to say it then. I didn't say it. Navy said it. Navy said it, guys. And I'm going to say it one last time. And if you want to fact check me, you can go back to the first video that I did. It was in 2020, January. And I told you what would happen pretty much in this whole thing, right? And I'm not going to tell you that I predicted it because I didn't predict it exactly. They shocked and surprised me how far they went. So I lost. I didn't get it. It's the one prediction that I fell short on. But what did I say? What do I say so much that it fucking drives me up the wall? I just said it 2 days ago. I say it every fucking time. When you do good things, you have to make a choice every fucking time. You have to make yourself. You'll never do it just by it naturally just bloop happening. There is always a moment, I don't care what it is, you have to make a mental decision to do something good. Even if you're just reaching your hand out and stopping somebody from falling over, you had to make that decision. But when you do fucked up things, I don't give a fuck if it's the baseline white lie, the smallest, to kind of boof yourself a little bit, make yourself look better than others. I don't care what it is. You do the smallest fucked up goddamn evil ass thing that even borderlines on the most outward fucking border of evil to good in the fucking yin and yang system. Even the fucking most tiniest evil thing will put a seed in the back of your mind. And every time you're not thinking, it'll naturally reverberate. It goes from the most tiniest evil drop, like a molecule, and it multiplies with every cycle and goes full circle, okay? And it's in your subconscious. And you have to willingly fight that. If you want to stop telling that white lie, 22 cycles in on it, and it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Every cycle, it's going to take more work. It's going to take more you actually looking and listening for yourself to lie and working it back. It is a reciprocal thing. Navy's right. Navy's right. I'm not saying that the most smallest evil is the biggest evil at all, but I'm saying that if we don't start acting on our own fuckery, even at the smallest level, we now know, not with Warden, because that's a case of pure demonic intervention, but we all know what is waiting for us if we're too lazy to step in and stop the cycle, right? Fuck you, Earl David Worden. Fuck you, you miserable, god-awful, demonic piece of shit. And for everyone who's still supporting him or who didn't go to their channel, is it midnight? I'll give you till midnight. You're just as bad as him. I'm giving you till midnight. Navy, you want to say something, bud? I just knocked you down because I was about to end it, but if you got anything, you're more than welcome to. All right, guys. PayPal.me/Unirock. Like, subscribe, share. You know what? Fuck it. Don't do any of that this time. Don't do any of it this time. Bye. It's depressing.